Welcome back. Once again, we're going to give it a couple of minutes just to let everyone filter in. We've got another interesting session for you as well. This is the last one of the day. Thank you so much for Shelly Fisher for joining us, and we're going to be bossing Microsoft Office with some top tips as well for this one. So again, I think I'll be making notes. I'll be making notes the whole way through. Please use the chat box and also the Q&A box. That's still readily available throughout the session. Shelley's going to be monitoring that, and as she goes along, some questions we may leave till the end. And once again, we are joined by Francis, who is our sponsor from Marriott as well. So just going to give it a couple more minutes, sort of halfway there. So. I mean, I'd be interested to see those of you that are on us already. Where are you guys watching from? We had a little international chat, didn't we, about earlier on, me and Shelley, just before we come on, about where people are based. So if you pop in the chat box while we're waiting, whereabouts you're watching from today, that'd be great. There you go. Stevenage. Lindsay. Dublin. Chicago, Jersey. Wow. We're all over. All over.
Cup of tea. Well, I've just got the dregs of my tea, so I'll just finish it off before we start.
No problem. Wow. Yeah, we're all over the UK. Lots of places, lots. Dublin. Awesome. You from London. Right, we'll get going. So I'd like to introduce first Frances Sharman. She's the National Corporate Account Manager for Marriott Hotels. Marriott Hotels have got the largest portfolio of hotels across the UK, Europe, Middle East and Africa. Marriott Hotels is committed to welcoming you back safely, including their hybrid meetings, flexible booking terms and exclusive discount rates. So over to you, Frances. I'll just get your slides up.
Great. Thanks, Charlotte. And I'm here with you from London today, so unfortunately not abroad. But yes, so if you didn't listen to the last panel, my name's Frances Sharman. I'm the National Account Manager for Marriott Hotels in the UK. I'd like to introduce one of our new programs, which is called Marriott Bonvoy Business Ready. If you move to the next slide, Charlotte, for me. With Bonvoy Business Ready, if you book direct with Marriott Bonvoy Business Ready, you will have exclusive access to an 8% discount off our bed and breakfast rates. You will also have mobile check-in options, late checkout, upgraded Wi-Fi, and your guests will receive 2,500 Marriott Bonvoy points on their first stay if they are new members to Marriott with us. We also will be offering exclusive food and beverage discounts throughout the programme as well. This is available at all participating hotels in Europe, Middle East and Africa. If you move to the next slide as well for me, Charlotte, you'll be able to see all of the benefits listed on here and also my contact details on the right-hand side. I also just wanted to mention to you guys a little bit of information on our Marriott cleanliness protocols. So globally, Marriott have our commitment to clean, and we also are offering our hybrid meeting options. If you're looking to move from fully virtual to hybrid, we can offer packages in all of our hotels from 10 people up to 1,000 people virtually working with us in single or multiple hotels at a time. So do feel free to get in touch if you have any questions, and we look forward to welcoming you back, and we can obviously get this programme set up for you now, ready for when your guests are able to travel. So thanks for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you. And fingers crossed it's soon. That's all I can say. Fingers crossed. We're all keen to get back out there. Yeah, so thank you very much, Francis. So now I'd like to welcome Shelly Fisher. Shelly Fisher is the founder of Tomorrow's VA, and she's going to be talking all about bossing Microsoft Office with her top tips. So you're in safe hands with Shelley. I'll leave you to it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Shelley.
Thank you. I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. And what you can probably see at the moment is PowerPoint, but not as a presentation. So I'm just going to pop it into reading mode, which is my first tip. Sometimes it's nice to see reading view. When you're preparing your presentation, it's a nice view. It looks like slideshow mode, but it's not quite slideshow, and your navigation is bottom right. But it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when you see the finished article. Get my teeth in a minute. So I'm Shelly Fisher, and we're here to talk about bossing Microsoft Office. So first, I'd just like to say who I am and why on earth should you listen to me and my tips? Well, I have over 20 years experience training Microsoft Office products, both in the classroom and latterly online. I'm certified online learning facilitator and certified designer of online learning. And I'm also a fellow of the Learning and Performance Institute. So that's got the credentials out of the way. I deliver online and, well, used to deliver in the classroom. Now I only deliver online because I'm coming to you from Israel. I had a face-to-face training company, which I sold, and I'm now just virtual, which is great. I specialize in Microsoft Office. So what tips am I going to be covering with you today? We're going to have a look at, in PowerPoint, design ideas. You may or may not have seen this. It's one of my favorite things. Mind you, all of these are one of my favorite things, by the way. We're going to see how you can wire your audience with icons, making them look snazzy. Timeline in PowerPoint, very powerful. And banish those boring bullet points. We don't want any bullet points in slides. In Excel, we're going to look at filling in a list automagically, as my made-up word. We're going to just go back to very basics about how you build a sum, because it's really important to know the foundation parts. And we're going to see how you can make your lists look absolutely gorgeous in Excel. We're also then going to move into Word and look at auto text in Word, which will save you loads of repetitive stuff. We'll look at adding keyboard shortcuts to styles, which is really handy tip. We'll then move into Outlook and look at replying to an email with a meeting request, which is a button that nobody even knows is there. How you can send somebody a copy of your calendar and some quick navigation keyboard shortcuts. So that's kind of what's on the menu. Now meet Veronica. She's virtual Veronica. Yeah, she's a frog. She's a VA at Tomorrow's VA. And she helps me out with my training. So my online training, if you do take any of my courses, you'll see Veronica pops up from time to time. My objective for the session is that you'll go away with at least 3 things you can put into action after today. So, as Francis said, have your pen and paper ready to make notes. And I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you how to do things. So without any further ado, let's get rid of that. And I'm going to pull up my other PowerPoint presentation that I prepared earlier. It's a bit like Blue Peter. If you're in the UK, there's always here's one I made earlier. So we're going to start off with design ideas. I'm just going to move that over there. So if you're creating your presentation and you want to make it look really nice, so the first thing to notice about this PowerPoint is this is a blank, very boring, not very good looking presentation. The only thing I've changed here are the design colors. So I've gone to the design ribbon. I've come over to the drop down under the variations to the colors, and I've applied my own color scheme. And I'm not going to go into how you do that right now, but I just wanted to know why all my slides have got orange headings. So this is the reason. Now, design ideas is artificial intelligence. It's AI, and it's powered by the web. So the first thing you need to know about it is you need to have an Office 365 subscription account in order for it to work, because it connects up to the web. It lives in 2 locations. You can find the design ideas button in 2 places: on the home ribbon over here on the far right hand side, and on the design, well, I'm on the design ribbon on the right hand side, and on the home ribbon on the right hand side. That was lucky, wasn't it? They're both on the right. So when you click design ideas, you'll see that it goes off, connects to the web, and generates some ideas for you down the right hand side. And you can then scroll through until you find something that you like. Oh, light bulb, It's quite nice for ideas. Let's move on. Oh, look, there's another one. Or we could have a ruler and a square, set square. And you can keep going until you find something you like. It will keep offering you suggestions, and eventually it will peter out and there won't be another button at the bottom to see some more. So it's really, really great. So I'm going to come to another slide and you'll see that it's automatically showing me some more design ideas. If I go back to this one, and I've lost the ones that I had before. I wanted to change the first one, but never mind, we'll come to this one. And I'm going to add in a picture. So I'm going to insert pictures from this device, and I'm going to insert a picture of a coffee cup. Now you'll see that it offers me some different design ideas. And because it's picking up my color scheme, it's giving me my heading. So I could say this is coffee. Oops, I cannot type, can I? I'm nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I've done this loads of times, but I'm feeling nervous. Here we go. Coffee at Coffee Island. Now, Coffee Island is my fictitious coffee shop. I'm going to have the best coffee shop in the world. And I even wrote a book about Excel, and I pressed the wrong delete button. I just want to delete the subheading. There we go. So now I've got my title, I've got my slide, and it looks rather snazzy. And I don't need to do anything. And if I want to, I can just keep going until I find something else. So I think design ideas is great. I do have to tell you that it only works with slides that haven't had their slide master dreadfully, or not dreadfully, modified to within an inch of its life. So if you've added lots of extra elements to your slide master, design ideas may or may not work. So let's have a look at icons. Icons are there to help set up illustrate a point. So I'm going to click in here, and I've got a couple of ways to add icons. I can use the placeholder, or I can use the big icon on the insert ribbon. Either way, same difference. So I'm going to choose icons, and I'm doing an online presentation right now. So let's choose this easel, and it pops the easel in. And if I drag to enlarge it, it's quite a nice picture. Notice that as design ideas was already open, it's already selecting some options for design ideas. And if I go and insert another icon, the one I actually want is the bicycle. And I have a reason for wanting the bicycle because it's very easy for me to illustrate. So I'm going to choose the solid one. And again, I'm going to resize. And you'll see again, design ideas is offering me some choices. It's offering me black and white choices this time because I've got two icons which are showing up in black. So I'm going to get rid of the easel for now, and I'm going to focus on the bicycle, because one of the things that I can do with icons, that's rather nice, isn't it? See, it's really handy, and I can get really carried away. I want to change what this bicycle man looks like. I'd like the wheels to be a different color and maybe his head and body to be different. So this is a type of image. And if I come up to the ribbon, you'll see that there is a graphics format. And up here, I can choose to fill it with a different color. So I can make him all orange, etc. But what I want to do is I want to separate the shapes out so that I can color each part by itself. And I'll do that by clicking Convert to Shape. Now I can click on his head, come to Shape Format, and make his head green. And maybe this wheel can be green, and that wheel can be yellow, and his body could be blue. And that looks hideous, but you get the idea. I've got the option of doing all sorts of things to my man on a bike, and I can then move him over here. One of the other things I can do now that I've got my man on a bike is I can make him fly across the screen. So I can come to the animation ribbon, drop down the animations, and I'm going to choose a custom motion path. And I'm going to draw him going across the screen, right off the screen. So I'm sending him right off the screen. If I play this, you'll see there he goes, and he goes off the screen, and then he comes back because he's in his resting state. So with icons, you can create some extra pizzazz in your presentation, and you can use animation to make it move. The next tip on my list was a timeline. So timelines are lovely. They can really make your dates and things stand out. So here we are on the 24th of March, where I'm talking to you at PA Life Live. On the 29th of April, I'm going to be delivering a presentation for Miss Jones Virtual Summit. And then on the 23rd of June, with a fair wind, I'll be in the UK for the PA show. So I'd like to show that in a graphical way. So I'm going to click into the placeholder, and I'm going to choose Convert to Smartart. I'm just going to choose a simple Smartart. Then I'm going for my very good friend, Design Ideas. And you'll see that Design Ideas has picked up the fact that I've put dates into my list, and it's given me some suggestions with dates. So because I tabbed between the two, it also knows that to symbolize them a bit like this with the lines coming out. So you can see it's rather neat. Now, yes, you could do this all with shapes and lines and flowchart shapes and typing, but it would take you quite a long time to get something looking as nice as that. And that's with the click of a button. I can also change it quite drastically by changing my color scheme. So I can choose any of the built-in color schemes or any of the ones that I've been playing with when I've been creating my courses and changing things around to show how it's done. And finally, in PowerPoint, we're going to have a look at banishing boring bullet points. So here is a list, it's a bulleted list, and it's got things that you can do in channels in Microsoft Teams. And I don't know if you can see, but already Design Ideas has given me a suggestion, which I think is fab, because that's not what I was going to show you, but this is actually what I wanted. I wanted the icons to pop up. And there we go. It's showing me a different view. And in fact, if you see this slide in one of my other presentations about Teams, this is actually what you'll see. Not this design, but these icons and this way. And you could just keep going until you find something that you like. But it's basically this, what I wanted to show you. But if I undo all of that and I choose Convert to Smartart on the home ribbon, I can come to more Smartart Graphics, and I can go and find one of those that has a picture, like that one, for example. And I can then add in the icons. So I can choose the icons. This one is chat. So if I type in chat, I can have a nice chat box, pop that in, and you'll see it starts to build. Have meetings from icons. Let's put in here meeting. And we could have, let's have an online meeting for that one, and so on. Files. You could also go for, let's go for documents. Icon type. That one do. Apps. What did I do for apps? Program. And websites. I typed in web, spiders web. I won't put the spider in case anybody doesn't like spiders. And then a notebook. For this one, I used team. And there we got a team. So you can see how you can really make your slides zing with not too much effort. So let me bring back my other slide with what we were going to talk about. So I've done the first lot, and we're going to have a look at Excel next. I like to go back and check I haven't missed anything. So here I've got a spreadsheet, and on this spreadsheet I've got some information, and I'll just make it a bit bigger. So what I want to look at is something called autofill, which most of you may well know, but what you might not know is some of the snazzy things that it does. Most people know that if you type Monday into a cell and get the little black plus in the bottom right-hand corner and drag, then it will replicate, well, it won't replicate, it will create a series which are days of the week. And from this one, I can do it horizontally just to show you that it works in both directions. So that is really handy. No more creating your rota and typing all the days of the week. Same thing goes for months. It will know where you are in the cycle and it will start from there. Not only that, if I typed Feb, then it will know to use the shortened version of the names of the months. So far, so what most people know. Most people know that if you put in a 1 and you copy it down, that it will copy, but you can choose to make it fill a series. And that's quite handy. I'm just going to pop another column in there to make it easier to read. So this is where it starts to get rather snazzy. I've got today's date in this cell. And if I scroll down with my little autofill handle, you'll see that it is giving me incremental dates. So if you're setting up a worksheet and you have to have each day of the month, you don't need to type them in. It's a huge time saver, but it goes further. If I click the little autofill button, you'll see that it's chosen series for me, but I could also choose weekdays. So here we are on Wednesday, which is the 24th. So the 25th is Thursday, the 26th is Friday, and the 27th is Saturday. The 28th will be Sunday. So if I choose fill weekdays, you'll see that it jumps from the 26th right to the 28th. So it takes out the weekends. And I think that's rather clever, don't you? The other options I can choose are to fill months, in which case you've got a monthly list. So it's the 24th of the month and every month. Or you could choose to fill years, in which case it would be the 24th of March and every year. So it's just a time saver when you're setting up a spreadsheet that you want to use. And okay, let's have a look at what happens when you put in a sequence for Excel to copy. So I've given it the 24th of March and the 31st of March, which is this week and next week. And if I copy that down, you will see that each one of those dates will be a Wednesday. So it's each Wednesday, the 24th, the 31st, the 7th, the 14th, and so on. So I said I was going to show you how to automatically fill in a list of event times. And here we have it. I've got 10 a.m. for the first speaker and 11:15 for the start of the second. So if I highlight them both and copy this down, I don't really need to go till midnight or till 10:30, but you can see that it gives me the start of each one exactly an hour and 15 minutes after the last one. So that is a really handy, useful way of setting up your event times. Now, Charlotte, I can't see the chat box. I can see the Q&A, but I can't see the chat box. So I don't mind that, but if there are any questions, can you pop them in the Q&A? Well, no, wait a minute, there's the chat. I couldn't see the more button.
There we go. Yeah, I think it's because you're sharing your screen. It's always quite hard to sort of...
Yeah, I've got it now. I found it. I'll leave it open on my other monitor. I've got two monitors, everyone. So I've got all my things I don't want to be distracted by on the other one. So there we go. Let's come back to my spreadsheet. So autofill is one of my, well, as I said, everything is one of my favorite things. That's why I've picked them. It's easy. It helps you set things up really simply. Okay, so let me check. What did I say next? Making a sum add up in Excel. Well, I've got a worksheet called Sum. I was prepared. Now, when you want to make things add up, we all know that when we went to school, well, certainly when I went to school, I was taught 1 + 2 = 3. Okay, and that's how I'd write it. 1 + 2 = 3. In Excel, we flip it. and we start with the equal sign. And we always start to build a formula in the cell where we want the answer to appear. So if I want to add up 12 plus 15, I'll start in this cell here. I'll type in the equal sign. I'll click on the 12, type in a plus, and click on the 15. Now you'll notice that in the cell, Excel has put cell references. That's the names of the cells where the numbers are. So I3 plus I4. The beauty of this is that if I change the numbers later, the formula will still work and it will use the updated numbers. So when I press enter, I get 27. And if I suddenly have got 15 plus 15, I get 30, which is brilliant. So it's a great way of building a simple formula. So you always start from the cell, you always start with an equals, and you always use cell references. And when you click on the cell, Excel will pick up the cell reference for you. So this is a divide. So we'll do the same thing. Equals 40 / divided by the 4. Again, G3 divided by G4. And I'm probably teaching many of you grandmothers to suck eggs, so to speak, but I always feel it's useful to show this because a lot of people are not taught from scratch, or they're handed a spreadsheet that somebody else has created and have to figure it out. So this is a way of knowing a little bit about what's going on. So a subtraction would be the first number minus the second number. So this first column here, I want to show you the Autosum icon, which allows me to add up the whole column. So again, I'm going to start from where the answer is, and I'm going to go to the Autosum button, which is top right. Now you'll see if you do click the drop down that there are some other things you can do, but I'm just going to go for sum. So I'm just going to click on the button. It defaults to Autosum when you click on the button, and you'll see it's put kind of marching ants, that's what we call them anyway, around all the numbers, including the blank row, which is above the cell where the sum is. And I like to have a blank row between. It's how I learned about 20 years ago. It's not necessary anymore, but it used to be necessary because if you added something in between, you wanted that to be included in your sum. So this is saying equal sum, that's the formula, and inside the brackets, what do you want to add up? So I wanted to add up from cell A3, then a colon, which means 2, cell A6, inclusive. So whatever is in A3, whatever is in A4, whatever is in A5, and whatever is in A6, add them together. And then when you press enter, it adds it up for you. So we can see that it's 60. Now, something else that is handy to know, and unless you've done it by accident, you may not notice, when you double click on a cell that has a formula in it, it pops the cell references in color and it highlights the cells in the corresponding color so you can easily find what your function was. And if I double click on the sum, it will open up the sum, put a whole arrows around thing around it, box around it, and so on. So that's how you build a basic sum. And it's really important sometimes to go back to basics and kind of figure out what somebody else has done with your spreadsheet. So what did I say we were going to do next? Oh, making your list look gorgeous. Oh, you know why the Fatima says she finally knows the blank row is there. Nowadays, if you don't leave a blank row, it won't matter. But the other reason for a blank row is also making it easier to read. You want to be able to see your total or where the sum is. And if it's bunched up against the numbers that you're adding up, you can't always tell which are the numbers and which is your total. So that's another good reason. So making your list look gorgeous. We're going to look at something called a table, which has so many features in it that it's amazing. So inside the table, you click inside the list of where your data is, you'll see it's got a heading row, and that's quite important. There are no blank rows and no blank columns in this list. And the reason for that is Excel, if it finds a whole blank row or a whole blank column, it will divide the data up into different lists. The odd blank cell where it's not been filled in is fine, just not a whole blank row and not a whole blank column. So I'm inside my list, and I'm going to come to, on the home ribbon, to this button inside the styles group, which is called Format as Table. And here I've got a dizzying array of lovely formats. Now I like orange, so I'm going to go for orange, and I'm just going to choose this one. And this is where the Format as Table says, where is the data? And it's put these kind of marching ants all around it. If I scroll down, you'll see it's stopped down there. And it's picked up that my table has headers because the header row is formatted differently. If the header row didn't look any different, that box would not be checked, and you should check it because we want the headers. Now, I noticed that when I was preparing before, I forgot to get rid of that row. So no hard, no difficult. So here we've got our beautiful table. So doesn't that look so much nicer than that blank list that we had before? We can come to table design, and if we don't like the orange, we could choose blue or yellow or grey or another blue and so on, or shaded columns and rows. So when your boss or colleague or client comes to you at 10 minutes to 5 and you're finishing at 5 and says, can you just make this look pretty? That's a quick way to make it look pretty. So we'll keep it green because it's Excel, and look at a couple of the other things that the table can do. And I'm going to just get rid of these two rows because it's easier. So one of the great things about it is you can filter. So I can come to the item column and I can say, well, I only want to see rows where we sold cappuccino and Americano and latte. And when you say okay, there you go, everything else has disappeared. To clear that, we'll just come and clear the filter. Now I want you to see something else, which I think is stunning, and then we're going to move to the next item. So up here in this group, next to on the table design ribbon, we have the total row. And when you tick it, it adds a total to the last column, or to any column where it finds numbers that it could total. So I'm going to go under this column and I'm going to choose a sum for here. You'll see you can choose different formulae. And now I know that we've sold 25,527 cups of drink for a total value of £46,545.39. Now remember that filter I did a moment ago. I'm going to come back and I'm going to say I want Americano, cappuccino and latte, just those three. Not only has it shown me just the three I'm interested in, it's also changed the totals. So for cappuccino, latte and Americano, I've sold 12,455 and a value in total of £23,362.70. And I could do it further. I could say I only want to focus on those three items in the area of Bath, for example. What did I do there? And again, it filters down some more. To clear the filter, I can come into the different fields where I added them and just clear those filters. There are other ways to clear it, but that's just one way. If I come over here, let's say I want to know what the average sales were instead of the total, I can choose average. And I can say the average numbers we sold was that. So you'll see there's lots of options here of what to do. So I'm just checking over there. There's nothing else popping up. That's great. So let's see, what are we going to do next? Now we're moving into Word. So how often do you have a document and you have standard text that you type several times a day? It might be thank you for calling, I'll get back to you in 5 minutes. You know, you get the idea. Anything standard. It could be whole paragraphs, even whole documents. So here's one I prepared earlier. I've just seen the question. I don't have time to answer that question in this session. I do have a course on PowerPoint, on details at the end. So here we've got a whole paragraph. I just copied it from another document, and let's pretend it's something that I want to add on a regular basis. So I'll come on the insert ribbon and I'll find quick parts. Under quick parts, you'll see is auto text. And at the moment, there's not very much there. I'll save the selection to the auto text gallery. It's called coffee as such. So I'm just going to call it coffee. It needs to have at least 4 letters, the name of your auto text. It's in the auto text gallery. It's in the general category, although we could create categories for them. We could type a description for it. And we can save it in the normal template. That means it will be available everywhere. If it was for a specific document, we could save it with that template, and we'll click OK. Now, when I come further down the document, come to quick parts and auto text, I can click on it here. So that's one way. But quicker than that, I can start to type coffee. And when I get to the 4th letter, you'll see we can press enter and it goes. So that's really useful. Now I'm just going to get rid of all of that. So I've got a bit more space. Here I've got something that's very highly formatted. That's an icon, by the way. Icons, like in PowerPoint, exist in Word under the insert ribbon. There we go, icons. And I inserted an icon and colored it in my brand color. I popped a 2-column table in. I gave it an orange border, added the heading tips and tricks, and I forgot to, did I make that bold? No, I didn't. Let's make it bold. And then whatever I trick or tip I was going to type would go here. So this would be something when I'm writing my user guides that I can, yes, it can be replicated in Outlook, the answer to that question. If I have time, I'll show you. So I can click this. And I can come back to the insert ribbon, back to quick parts, auto text, save it. I'm going to call it tips. And then here, start to type tips. And there it is. It really will save you loads of time. What if you want? Yes, you can. Okay, so let me just show you what happens. At the point where I get to coffee, it gets the tooltip on the screen, but if I press the space bar and I don't see the tooltip, it just goes away. Coffee is great, and I need one in the morning. There you go. So it's really, really easy. I can just keep on going and it won't do that. And again, with tips, I don't have to type tips and get it in there. So you have got those options right there. Okay. So that was auto text. What next? Keyboard shortcuts to styles. Now I'm making a very big assumption here that you're using styles, but in case you're not, let me show you how to apply them at the very least. So here's a document. You might notice I like coffee, lots of things about coffee. Here is a document that I use quite a lot, and there are some headings here, but they do not have heading styles applied. So coffee appears to be good for the brain. I'm going to make that heading 1. We're going to make this one a heading 2. It's a bit smaller. We're going to make that one a heading 1 again. And we'll make this one a heading 2 again. So we've got 2 heading 1s and 2 heading 2s. And this one is a title. So you'll see that they've taken on my branding and what have you. This session doesn't have time to show you how to set them up. So now I've got them, and one of the benefits of heading styles is if I was to change the color for one, it will change everywhere. So all heading 1s are now blue. Now, it would be much easier when I'm typing a document to use the keyboard to apply heading style either as I type or afterwards. So I'm going to show you how to add a keyboard shortcut to those headings. I think I already have them in there, but let's just check. So here I've got my first heading 1. Right click modify. This is where you come to change how your styles look. And down at the bottom left, you have a format button with the option to add a shortcut key. And I have already done this because I use this a lot. It's one thing that I do use. I talk about keyboard shortcuts a lot, but these are keyboard shortcuts I really use. So I've set my heading 1 to be Control 1, and I've set my heading 2 to be Control 2, and that one is a heading 1. So let's find a heading 2. That one is a heading 2. So if I take that back to the normal style, so it's got no heading, and I press Control and 2, it changes to heading 2. So if I change this heading 1 to 2, Control 2, Control 1, it changes. And that really is, if you're working in Word all day long and you're using heading styles, by giving shortcuts to your styles, you can apply them as you type, or afterwards you can still come back and apply them. And as I said, it's something that I actually do use a lot. So where to next? Are we feeling bossed yet? Have we bossing Office well enough? We're now going into Outlook land. So I'm actually going to be very brave and share my Outlook screen with you. So let me just get it up here and bring it across. Okay, I know that's rubbish, so I'll delete that and I'll delete that. Okay, we'll come back to that afterwards. Right, so the first thing that I wanted to show you was how to reply to an email with a meeting. So I've got, I'm late for this meeting, how about that? Here is something from Charlotte asking me or giving me some information about today's session. Now let's pretend she was asking me for a meeting. Now, normally what you would do is you might go into your calendar, start a new meeting or go to new item. But all you need to do, let me just make this bigger so that you can see the buttons better. So up here in the respond group, there's a little button, it's the top one, it's a calendar, and that's reply with meeting. Don't worry, Charlotte, I'm not going to send it. I'm just going to show people how it's done. So that sets up a reply with the email sent to me in the bottom. So I've got the information I need, and all I need to do is say, well, let's get together tomorrow at whatever time I choose, 1:30. And then I would just send that off, and that would be a regular meeting request. I'm not going to send that. So that's number one. The next thing I want to show you is this. Let me set the scene. So Bob phones you up and Bob says, Shelley, we need a meeting. I said, okay, fine. And he says to me, Shelley, tell me when you're free. And I look at my calendar and I say, okay, Bob, Monday at 3, Tuesday at 10, Wednesday at 4. And he says, no. Put it in an email to me, please. I can't do two things at once. Okay. So here's what I do. Well, here's what I used to do. I'd put the phone down to Bob, get my trusty Post-it note and my trusty pen, open up my calendar, look at what my free times were, or the ones I wanted to offer Bob, and write them on my Post-it note. Then I'd come into the calendar, start an email, address it to Bob and say, we can get together on Monday at 2, Tuesday at 4. Get the picture? I'm sure you do. Don't need to do that anymore. I can just send Bob a copy of my calendar. I can say to Bob, this is when I'm free. Reply to me with a meeting, please, for the slot you want. He can't quite book a direct meeting in my calendar yet, but at least he can see when I'm free. And don't worry, he won't be able to see what I'm doing. Okay. Right. So I'm going to go to the insert ribbon here, and I'm going to choose calendar. When you click the calendar icon here, you'll see that it says, okay, which calendar? So I also have Veronica's calendar if I wanted to send Veronica's. So I could choose calendar. The date range is today or the next, for example, 7 days. So I could even choose my whole calendar or a specific amount of dates. I could choose next 7. Then I say, how much do I want to share with Bob? Do I want to share only my availability, some limited information, or full details? I'm going to say only availability and click OK. What happens next is my calendar gets, a snapshot of my calendar gets inserted where Bob can see when I'm free. And you can see I'm at the office next week from the 26th. I'm gone. It's Passover coming up at the weekend, and I'm actually taking a week off. I haven't had a week off in a very long time, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyways, he also gets a copy of your calendar, and you might be worried, but basically it just shows free and busy time. It doesn't show anything else other than free busy time. So you don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to close that and not save it. So where next, she asks. Navigation shortcuts in Outlook. And then we're more or less done it, I think. Okay, and then I can answer the couple of questions. So good navigation shortcuts in PowerPoint. I'm just going to show you 4 of my favorite ones. So they use the control key. We're currently in the inbox. If I use control and the number 2, it will jump me into my calendar, which is very colorful. Control and 3 will jump you into your people. Control and 4 will take you to tasks. Control and 1 brings me back to inbox. But I want to focus on the calendar and sneak in a couple of other shortcuts. Is that okay? So if I use the Alt key this time with the number 3, I can see 3 days in my calendar. You can't, well, you can do that other ways. You can drag. You can actually drag and say, I want to see that many days, which people don't always know. I want to see those 3. Right, it shows me those 3, but I can do Alt 5 to see 5 days. Alt 9, I pressed the wrong key. I pressed the Windows key and not the Alt key. So let me just close all the windows that opened up for me over there by mistake. But so Alt 7, hang on, make sure I'm in the calendar. There we go, we've got 7. And if I do Alt 9, it's not wanting to show me 9, but it should do. So let's go back to today. Alt 9, no, let's do Alt 3. I don't know what I clicked there, I wasn't looking, but you get the idea in that you can change the view of your calendar. There we go, Alt 3 starting from the week. So I can see the next 3 days, it's the next 3 days coming up. So let me just, somebody asked about quick parts in Outlook. So as I'm in Outlook, I thought it would be useful just to cover that. And then it's probably the end, unless Charlotte tells me otherwise. So to use quick parts in Outlook, it's exactly the same, but you'll have to set them up in Outlook. So let's have coffee is my best morning drink. Just because I couldn't think of anything else, let's highlight coffee, go to the insert ribbon, and here you've got quick parts. Auto text, save to auto text gallery, coffee, let's delete it, start to type coffee, and once again, it's there. So you just need to do the extra step of setting it up in Outlook. I'd also suggest if you're going to use quick steps, quick parts a lot, whether that's in Outlook or in Word, to have a master document where you keep everything that you're going to set up as a quick step, quick part. There's too many quicks. The reason being, if anything ever crashes and gets corrupted, you can very quickly recreate your auto text entries because you've got them all ready in a list. Excuse me while I just take a sip of water. Okay, so I think we have done it. So let me come back to my slides and move to the next Yes, thank you for your time. So what are you going to do first? Are you going to put which of these things are you going to put any of these tips into practice? If you want to, if you can, sorry, I just saw a question pop up over there. I got confused. So what are you going to put into practice? Do you want to type into the chat to tell us what you're going to do? Quick parts. Yep. Calendar. Great. Fantastic. Okay. So what next can you do? And can you work with me going forward? Well, yes, you can. I have a range of online courses on Tomorrow's VA, which you can get 10% off if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. And you use the code PALIFE at checkout. And I've got courses on Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Microsoft Teams. You can book live training with me as well, whether that's for you on a personal basis or for a group of you, and we can deliver via Teams or Zoom. And you can get in touch with me. I like connecting with people. I love to know what you thought of the session. Please hit me up on social media, on Twitter, at Tomorrow's VA or at Shelly Fishel. On LinkedIn, I'm Shelly Fishel. tomorrowsva.com is the website. CourseDirectory.tomorrowsva is my courses. And you can email me, Shelley@tomorrowsva. And I'd love to hear from you and let me know what you enjoyed most about the session. I'll hand it back to you, Charlotte.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Just quickly, we brought Francis back because we've got a question for you from someone in the audience.
Great, hello.
They've said, can you expand on when you feel it's going to be possible for large 30+ events at the Marriott, and when's a good time to plan for these?
I would say from a planning point of view, it's great to plan as soon as you can, as availability will be the main issue for hotels going forward once things are fully open, because everyone's going to be wanting to book everything into the same hotels on the same dates. So I think from an availability point of view, if you can get your diaries organised now, we are able to take the inquiries and get that all ready for you. Obviously, with the government guidelines, a lot of our hotels are already open for key workers, and they will be opening next month when we are allowed for business travel to resume as and when they can. Obviously, when things fully open from June, that's when we expect to see larger events happening from then, and we are allowed to do larger events from then. But from now, please get in touch, and we are able to accommodate everything ready for you now.
Thank you so much. Shelley, thank you for your session.
You're welcome.
Are you happy you've answered all the questions? You've got a couple of minutes if there's anything else that you wanted to do.
I think I answered them all. I think I answered them all. The only was one that was just too much. There isn't time to answer it fully. But Francis, it'd be great when you've got hotel. Have you got an hotel near Excel?
Near the Excel Centre, yes, we do.
Okay.
We have the Aloft Excel, and we also have the Courtyard London City Airport, which is around the corner as well. So,
okay, good to know.
Yeah, very close.
Okay.
So when we all do the PA show, there you go.
Yeah, because I'm going to be there.
You.
I'm planning to fly in for that, so I'm speaking twice.
Great.
I'm exhibiting as well. So
you pop me an email, Shelley, and I will sort you out some
accommodation. You'll sort me out. Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you everybody, and thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you again to Francis. Thank you again, Shelley. I mean, that was lots of tips, lots of insightful stuff, and it will be recorded. We will send it round, send all the contact details around again as well. I think even I'll be rewatching that video, especially with the PowerPoint, definitely.
Well, I've got a whole course. I launched Perfect PowerPoint Creation just 2 weeks ago. It's a brand new course. It's got over 6 hours of video tutorials in it. It's massive, and I thoroughly enjoyed recording it.
I bet you did. No, it was good. It was really good. Lots of tips. And I know we've had some great feedback as well from everyone in the chat box. So.
Thank you all. Okay.
Thank you everyone for joining us again. Thank you for all the attendees and all of our sponsors and our speakers today. It's been a really informative day. Any feedback, let us know. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, hang on.